British Prime Minister Cameron has resigned over it. Donald Trump is celebrating it. And I actually think it's an opportunity to improve on our relationships, whether national, international, or personal. Of course, I'm talking about the decision to exit the European Union, what's called Brexit. How the British people have voted in a very, very tight race, 52 to 48, to leave the European Union. Now, it's interesting also that it's a 52-48 split, exactly the same margin that we face in this country around a whole variety of deeply divisive issues, including women's health/abortion, guns, all kinds of things. Very, very narrow divides on very deeply held beliefs. And I think this is really a moment when, regardless of how you feel about this decision, a lot could be learned and we can do things a lot better. The truth is, I really began to think about this as some of the people who are advocating most ferociously to exit the European Union had declared this an Independence Day for Britain. They said it should be a national holiday, a bank holiday. Federal institutions should close down. National institutions should shutter because this is the beginning of British independence. And I realize that word is the whole key. How often we fight between dependence and independence, forgetting the category of interdependence. And I think that's really where the future lies in all of our relationships. But not an interdependence which simply says, of course, union is always the way to go, because that seems as misguided as the premise that, of course, we can be independent. What does independent mean? Does any of us actually exist outside a web of relationships? We may hate those relationships. They may not be good relationships. The institutions which may hold those relationships may not be positive. But what does independence mean in any kind of absolute way? At the same time, the idea that dependence can be absolutized, and people never feel they have the freedom to go their own way, to voice their own opinion, to feel a sense of national or personal or familial identity, which really is different and discrete and apart from all those other people and institutions we're connected to. That doesn't make sense either. So actually, whether or not you think Brexit was a good idea, whether you think Cameron's decision to resign is wise, whether you're made absolutely batty by Donald Trump saying, I think this is a great thing, and then when asked, can you explain why, really had nothing to say, what if none of that matters? What if we focus right now on our own relationships? Relationships where, if you're like most of us, the tension between the need to express our individuality and go our own way, and at the other time, to know there is no such thing as our own way that isn't connected to the way of others. A moment when we said it's not about dependence versus independence, it's a kind of interdependence, which would say if you were in favor of Brexit, okay, we're free. Now free to do what? Not just free from what, but free to accomplish what? And what relationships will we need in order to achieve those dreams? And if you're mourning the loss of Britain's participation in the EU, rather than talk about how this will destroy markets and upend the world and it's the beginning of the end of everything we know and love, simply ask, where is it the impulse for national identity, for independence, has been avoided and needs to be more fully honored? But as we fully honor it, to be able to remind people, hey, there's no such thing as being cut off from each other.